How's it going? Kevin Crawford here, and welcome to the Online Irish Music Academy. And I'm going to play a beautiful tune associated with the place closest to my heart, County Clare. It's a tune called Come West Along the Road. And this is going to feature in our series of session favourites. So here it is. I'm going to play it for you and hope you like it. So with Come West Along the Road, it's one of those kind of earwormy tunes. For me, if I hear it at a session, I kind of end up waking up listening to it in the morning. It's kind of one of those. So it's hopefully a tune that you're going to pick up pretty easily. I do like to be able to sing the tune before I attempt to play it. That way I know the kind of geography of it or the journey of it. So da daddle doodle daddle diddly doodle dumpa doodle dump daddy doodle daddy doodle laddy diddle laddy dump daddy doodle daddle diddly doodle lumpa doodle dump daddy doodle laddy doodle da dum. So even when I'd be singing it, I'd be thinking about where I'm going to be breathing. And it's funny, it's probably not the most theory-oriented kind of a tip, but I find for the most part, if I'm struggling in a tune in terms of knowing where to take the breath, that sounds like appropriate or doesn't mess with the rhythm, if I'm able to sing the tune, I instinctively take the breaths in the right place. Whereas if we're trying to figure out the breaths on the instrument, I think a lot of the time we see it in a more linear fashion and we try to like, oh, I need to get to the end of this phrase, or I need to... Whereas when you're singing it, you don't think in terms of phrases or notes. You're just going with where the tune kind of wants to breathe. And oftentimes when you transfer them then back to the tune, hey presto, you figure out your breath marks. So let's break it down. Okay, so that's da 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 diddly da 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 dum. Here we go again. Okay, now if you were to think of this in terms of phrases, you would be going da 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 dum. But again, if you're thinking of it in a more kind of circular, fluid, natural way, da 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 daddle daddle diddly daddle doodle. So that little bit in the middle of that first line, if you were reading it, you're going to see it as a note and then an ornament. But when you join them all together, that ornament just becomes a full roll. But if you were to break it down, it would be a note and a short roll. So it's going to be... And just to make it clearer what I'm on about, if I didn't do it like that, I'd be going... which isn't helpful. So you got to think of it more in the greater picture, okay? So... okay, that makes sense now, doesn't it? And then the little bit at the end, it's a simple G cut just to separate the two Gs. So super slow now, that line. And then the response, we're going to incorporate a breath as well because we haven't had one yet. Good job we have the breath there because it seems like there's an awful lot of notes after that, doesn't it? Right? The two together, the call and answer. And that's bringing us back into the start of the third line there, that D note. Be careful and get to know your instruments. With a tune like this, the thing that could make or break it is actually how in tune your C naturals are. So figure out certain whistles, the fingering dictates how you have to play that C natural to make it in tune. Some you're going to incorporate just a one fingered system. Some it's going to be the two. Some it's actually the three that make it in tune. So just figure it out because they do need to be nice and sweet. Okay, just make sure of that. Moving on. Third line, beautifully, is the same as the first, only we're going to have a breath. Okay, and then we're back to the D breath again for the last line. And everything is the same on the fourth line, or the fourth set of phrases, as we did on the second, only the note at the end is different. That C natural that I said to be wary of in terms of tuning, you're going to go to a high D note at the end here. So okay, so it should make sense if I do it all together. Very slow. There's no prizes for speeding it up at this point. So 3, 4. Hey presto, and it's single, so just go through those 4 sets of phrases like that and then you're into the second part. Okay, moving on. You could do an ornament at the start of the second part, but to be honest, it's more important to get the rhythm and the swing and the pulse of the tune kind of right first before you start throwing in an abundance of ornaments. So I would generally forfeit ornaments for rhythm if ever I have the opportunity. So instead of it being that short roll, it's nice when you're up and running at a great speed, but to be honest, it's more relevant to go okay, break it down slower than that, but that's the way it's going to be. 3, 4. And again, 3, 4. You might notice that for those high Ds in the second part, I'm not lifting the finger up, and it's all to do with the note that's coming after it. Because I'm going to a G after that high D, it's just more economical for me to keep the high D down or the 6 fingers down, and it's just all to do with what's leading into it and what's coming after it. So I would love to go, and playing it slow, I could do that. But because that tune is going to be played faster than that, the economy of and the efficiency of movement across the notes, it makes more sense to keep it down. So okay, so that's in case you're going to say, he tells us to lift it up, but he doesn't do it himself. That's what's happening there. Second line. Again. But you'll notice that I did it just to further kind of drive home the argument that I was making. Because I'm coming out of a C natural, it makes sense to do the finger up on the high D there. So, you know, it's all a lot of the time dependent on how the notes are falling in line there. So the two together. Okay, and then we're back to the repeated first line. And then the very last response at the end is different. So I suppose the main aim of this tune is to get that rhythm right. It's a dance tune. It needs to be played that way. The pulse of it would be more dum da dee doodle da dee diddly da dee doodle dumpy dum da dee doodle da dee doodle da dee doodle da dee. Okay, so I'm kind of pushing the first and the third note within each of those phrases. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then everything after that really is just down to kind of playing the right notes. If you have the right rhythm going from the start, you're in a good place. So here's the whole tune at a nice slow to moderate pace. 3, 4. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you did, then you should sign up to the OAIM course, and you can go to their website. And within the series that we're looking at this time, we're doing popular session tunes, and we're going to be looking at ornamentation, articulation, breathing, pulsing, phrasing, and even variation. So yeah, make it happen. Sign up to the OAIM website.